Brian, you all good in the back? Zach, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions for Coach Johnson? Todd?
What do you emphasize this week? I mean, you don't like distractions, and there are a lot of them when you get into a week like this. How do you kind of try and tape over those maybe, and then get your team focusing on what you need them to?
I mean, to me, the key is continue to what we've done all season. So it's obviously a road trip, and so try to do nothing different than we normally would do on a road trip during the regular season or for playoffs. And people are used to routines. What we practice, how we practice, the times we practice. The only difference we'll get here in New Hampshire a day earlier than we would on a normal road trip. So I like to keep things in place and not try to deviate or do more or less. And then just try to get people in space early in the week to get everything they need to get done outside of what the game's about done. And so if their parents are traveling or friends are traveling, getting your tickets organized, get things situated, and so when it comes time for hockey, they can focus on hockey. So we don't need to do more, we don't need to do less, we just need to continue the process of what we've done all season. And so they're in a good place, and then it's just a matter of controlling the things between your ears that you can control.
Reaching the Frozen Four, it's obviously a big accomplishment, but still work to do. I guess I'm just wondering, how much is there a balance as a coach? Like, do you want your players to kind of smell the roses a little bit, or and kind of understand what they're doing, or is this really a time that you really kind of make sure the players stay locked in and keep that tunnel vision?
Yeah, as I mentioned previous, it's just the same routine. Obviously, the magnitudes of the game are higher. Everybody can see the finish line now. There's only 4 teams left, and then the season's over on Sunday, and somebody's going to be a national championship Sunday afternoon, early evening, and so you can see that light at the end of the tunnel, which creates excitement because you're still playing. But the routine and the way you go about, I mean, we're creatures of habits. And what are your habits? Are they good habits? Are they habits that continue the process of improving yourself individually? And then is it the same process we use with a team to try to collectively become better? And so that doesn't change. And so your approach, your habits to your game, are ingrained. So do you watch golf?
Oh, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah? So when the guy gets on the first hole and he's got a 3-footer, and his routine's going to be exactly the same. And he gets into that space, whether he makes it or misses it. Now he gets on the 18th hole, and he's got that same 3-footer. But now, if he makes that 3-footer, he wins the tournament. Does he approach it any different? How does he manage that anxiety? And so he reverts right back to what his habits are. So he can be practicing in his backyard that same 3-footer, and but the meaning of the putt makes a difference. And so I go back to my habits, and the stronger my habits are, the better chance I have to free my space in my mind and get over that putt knowing I'm going to make it.
Mark, I'm curious, having been through this several times, how do you talk to your team about handling the pressure of playing on the big stage, and obviously the pressure of hoping to deliver another national title?
Well, I mean, I look, pressure's good. I mean, if there's pressure out there and you're part of it, that means you're in a pretty good space and you have an opportunity. And so I look at it as, when your opportunities come, are you prepared for those? And as I told the team on Monday, they are. They're battle tested. You go through our league schedule and have the success we did over the course of that 4.5 months, you've been battle tested. And then the playoffs, very similar. We were fortunate enough to win our playoff championship, and so that's an experience that they can relate back to. But other than my freshmen, they went through this last year. We had a little different path, a little different challenges along the way, but they were prepared for what they were up against last year, and they got an opportunity, and they capitalized on it. And I don't see much difference here. We've created this opportunity. We're well prepared for it. We've showed we can play at a real high level. Now can we go execute that and show what we're capable of doing on Friday night?
Mark, Chris Wells, the St. Lawrence head coach, after the regional final on Saturday, said that he saw some similarities between your team and their conference mate Colgate over there in the ECAC. What, if any, similarities do you see between your team and the team you're preparing to match up against in the semifinal?
Well, they again, they've been challenged. They, obviously won their league championship, and again, they've got players that were on that team that we played against last year. They don't want to have to happen what happened to them last year this year. So I'm sure they're going to be quite excited. They've got some high-end players. They score goals. They've got a very good power play. So they've got a lot of ingredients that go into why they're champions of their league. And so now, can you manage, as we talk, if it's pressure, whatever, can you manage that in the magnitude of this game, knowing that the winning team goes on and plays for the national championship Sunday? So, we're concerned with us, and we're going to try to do whatever we can to make sure that we're playing in that game Sunday.
Mark, you just mentioned it. Played them last year. You beat them to go to the Frozen Four. What do you remember about that game, and do you think just the style of play that was played in that game is going to be comparable to Thursday or Fridays?
Well, this game's obviously got different players on each side of the ice, and so the difference last year is we had to play in their building, and that's a challenge in itself because they don't lose a lot of home games, and we had to play a game Thursday night and then come back and play Saturday afternoon. So the whole path and our journey last year was much different, where this year we got an opportunity to play at home. We didn't have to travel last weekend, and now you're in a position to play them on a neutral site. So it presents different things, and it's going to come down to what most games comes down to, all these little different small things within our game, your ability to execute under the meaning of the game. And so our players are experienced. They have a bunch of players that are experienced, so as you look at it, it's probably going to be a pretty good hockey game.
This may be difficult because KK came in at a pretty high level this season. Where is she better right now than she was back in September, knowing she had to go through that stretch where she, had an injury, had a setback there? How has she been able to kind of keep progressing to what we see now?
Well, like a lot of players, she had a wonderful experience last year as a first-year player in our league. This year, each experience that you have, whether it's, positive or negative, is an opportunity to grow. And so, she started off the season really hot, playing really well, and then all of a sudden you run into an injury. And, for a lot of our players, especially when they're young, freshmen, sophomores, they may have not been hurt before, ever. And so, if somebody hadn't been hurt before and all of a sudden you get an injury and you're out for 3, 4, 5 weeks, it's a challenge. It's difficult, and it creates a lot of different things in your mind. Nervousness, am I going to be able to play at a high level again? And those high-end kids, they have to battle through some things. And so what I've seen, especially in the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks, is her confidence is back, and she's jumping up there. And so that space that, I don't want to get hurt again, that negative stuff that maybe was in my brain, all of a sudden, as I play more games and I feel more comfortable and I gain these experiences, I'm going to be okay. And now I can be free to play. And I've seen that, over the last month here, and that's a good sign. That helps us, where she's able to play free. She can impact the game in a lot of different areas that, not many players can. So to have her healthy, have her mind free, knowing that she can play at a real high level, that's good.
Follow up to KK. We see her on the ice. We see it. We see in the statistics. I guess I'm just wondering, as someone kind of sees, her behind the scenes a little bit, what don't we see that about her that really kind of goes into making her, the special player that she is?
Well, probably a couple things come to mind. She's a really, really good teammate. And so she's supportive of, whether we got a couple of freshman defensemen this year, helping them grow and develop as players on the ice. We see what she's capable of doing on the ice, but she's a real good teammate. And she cares about her teammates. She's concerned about them. A lot of kids can lead by example, but when I leave the rink, am I helping out my teammates in that area too? And so, the other part of it is, you know, if kids want to aspire to be a real elite athlete or be a professional, then you know, their actions have to showcase that. And so, you know, am I taking care of myself away from the rink? Am I eating properly? Am I doing the things necessarily to train my body and put my body in a position to keep improving? And she works at her game. And so we've had a bunch of players come through our program, and you know, from day one to when they graduate, they practice hard every day. They come out and they play at 100% level, even some days when they don't feel like it, even some days when they have the flu or I really don't want to work hard today. They work hard, knowing that if they continue that process, they're going to end up being pretty good. Not saying that they're not pretty good right now, but you know, you talk to any professional, whether it's a tennis player, a golfer, a hockey player. I mean, you talk about those first couple of years, if I'm in the NHL or I'm on the tennis circuit or I'm a professional pickleball player, what am I doing daily to help myself? Because I'm either getting better or I'm getting worse. What do you want to do? What do you choose to do? And so for those elite kids that really separate themselves from other players, whatever sport you're playing, they're going to do those little things, and they're going to do them all the time, and that's the reason they're good.
Anything else for Coach? Thank you.
Have you played pickleball before?
No.
Touch, feel, hey? I was watching on TV the other day. I came home, my wife's got pickleball on, right? And the announcer starts talking about this pair. They haven't lost a match since last March, hey? And they play against all the top players around the country and the world. They have not lost a match in a year. How hard would that be to do?
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
That's pretty tough.